It's time to put your health in your own hands. Get ready to learn from today's top health and wellness innovators and thought leaders on Optimal Health Radio. Now, here's your host.
Hi, this is Tammy Patzer, and I'm really excited to introduce today's guest, Jagdish Singh. He is a scientifically validated Trivedi healer, and he is a conduit for life force energy. He has the unique ability to harness the energy from the universe using the world-renowned phenomenon of the Trivedi effect and transmit it to living organisms and non-living materials anywhere in the world. The energy performs intelligently and beneficially to the recipient's unique needs, optimizing the recipient's potential by all means, thus leading to lasting changes in their behaviors and characteristics. And today, with Jagdish, we're going to be talking about a topic that is very important in the world today, and that is depression. Welcome, Jagdish.
Thank you, Tammy. Glad to be here.
Great. I'm happy you're here too. Tell me a little bit more about depression and why it is such a common thing in our world today.
Absolutely, Tammy. If you look at worldwide data today, more than 322 million people worldwide suffer from depression. And, losing a loved one, getting fired from job, going through divorce, or difficult situations in life, these kind of experiences can make people sad or lonely or scared. And these are, normal feelings or normal reactions to stresses in life. And most people feel low or sad at times. However, in case of people diagnosed with depression as a psychiatric disorder, the low mood, such feelings are much more severe and they tend to persist. So as per Anxiety and Depression Association of America, most common diagnosed form of depression is major depressive disorder. And it's been increasing. It's been growing. If you look at older data versus newer data, every year there is an increase in number of people experiencing depression. And as per 2016 data from NIMH, which is the National Institute of Mental Health, an estimated 16.2 million adults in US alone had at least one major depressive episode. That's about 6.7% of US adults. That's very significant data. So these are more common in adult females. So 8.5% of US adult females have experienced major depression versus 4.8% of males.
So do they have any data on why that might be?
Well, it is inability to cope with the stresses in life. It's inability to find an outlet, find a solution to the problems which they come up. And a lot of time, not even recognizing that this situation is becoming progressively, you can say, more and more severe. So, and also some people not recognizing that this is what they're going through until they have reached to diagnostic state. And these episodes, as I was mentioning, are highest among ages 18 to 25. That's about almost 10.9%. And there is type of depressive disorder, which is called persistent depressive disorder. And in this situation, this aspect, what happens is the mood disorder, which is like dark or severe, that is persistently present in one's life most of the and on for at least 2 years. And they also add some other diagnoses to it, like poor appetite. These are the symptoms. They will see poor appetite or overeating. You're trying to balance somehow. Insomnia or hypersomnia. They may feel low fatigue, low self-esteem, poor concentration. They may experience difficulty making decisions or feelings of hopelessness. And if they are symptom-free, it's no longer more than 2 months. That's kind of the diagnosis of that particular depression type. So it's a growing situation in the US and across the world.
So with depression, I think you said something that was really interesting, because you said that sometimes people don't really even realize that they're in a depression until, for whatever reason, they might get it diagnosed. Because I know sometimes, people, different times of the year, and like you said, there's different life experiences. For example, the death of a loved one, or maybe a divorce or a job loss, and you would expect to be a little bit upset and depressed about that, but not for a long period of time. So I know that you've been very candid about that you actually experienced depression, but the good news is that you actually found something that helped you to overcome it. Could you talk about that?
Absolutely. To your first point about people not realizing, so they feel sad for a while, and most people come out of life situations, deal with it, and they feel normal. But when those feelings persist and they do not resolve, that's when it begins to go into category of depression, right? And just to add a couple of more data points there, just depression cost businesses in US more than $70 billion in terms of medical expenses or loss of productivity. And as far as treatments are concerned, there are some options people try. They go and look for therapies, or like psychotherapy, brain stimulants. They may go with alternate methods like Reiki or Qigong or meditation. So my situation was similar, that I experienced a depression episode around 2010 when I lost my mother, and those feelings of sadness persisted and persisted, and I realized that my productivity was decreasing. I wasn't as productive as before. And in general, the mood was, always low. Mood was, there was no, excitement about, getting things done. Procrastination began to seep in. So those were some of the common things I was noticing. There were some impact on my sleep as well. And depression sometimes can also lead to anxiety. So I was experiencing a little bit of that also. So I looked for these relief areas also, try to look for therapies or try to look for meditation. And ultimately, I went to doctor, and I got diagnosed with the depression, and I was given medication. So even though it was mild, but still I was on medication, and I stayed that on for a while. And as you know, with medication, there come side effects. So that's one of the things most people face. They are ultimately a medical, you can say, in a medical situation, and then medicine begins to create more issues with one's life. It could be health, it could be other, side effects like weight gain. Um, so everything, all these options, they do provide some relief, right? But there was no permanent relief. So if you're on medication, then you need to stay on medication. And if you're on that for a long time, the same level may not work. You may have to increase the dosage. And then that adds more complications because now there are bigger side effects. So I am actually so grateful to Divine that I found Trivedi effect in 2011. I found Guruji Mahendra Trivedi. He was hosting a, we call that time retreats. So he had a retreat in Chicago where I got a chance to meet him and receive energy transmission or blessing from him. And then I began to feel calmness at that time. And in my mind, I was also actually relating to it. There are two aspects, like there are life situations, right, which cause you to feel and go through those symptoms. And also, in my mind, there are spiritual seekers also have certain type of longing, and that may lead to depression as well if it is not fulfilled. And so only solution for those situations is actually connection with divine. And I think Guruji Mahendra Trivedi fulfilled that aspect for me as well. So I think that is what actually solved my issues with depression, that Guruji Mahendra Trivedi is the only person I know on this planet who has the ability. And now after his mentoring masters like Dharan Trivedi and Alice Brenton and Master Gopal, they have that ability, plus the healers he has enabled. But he is the only person on this planet who brought this Trivedi effect into existence, which connects one to source of their understanding, which connects one to God of their understanding. And with that connection, you feel immediate relief. And you can have, I guess the one way I can explain is analogy to a mother and a child, right? If child is away from mother, child may feel lost, may feel depressed and confused, and several additional disorders may begin to manifest in child's life if that separation is prolonged. But the moment child is brought back to mother, all those symptoms begin to get resolved. And that's how I see the Trivedi effect. It gives you that source, that gives you that connection to the source of everything, source of, you can say, all knowing, all energy, all creativity. And once you have that connection, the rest of the things in life begins to fall in place.
I can really see that. And I like that analogy of between a mother and a child, because that is something that, or a parent, father and a child or a mother and a child, but you really can see that connection, because it's just like, a baby can be crying and you hand the baby to the mother and the baby's just all of a sudden everything's good and they're calm. And so I can see that when you have that connection to the divine, that would make you have that calm feeling, and that you would feel that connection to your life force, and and it would help you to heal in all different ways. So when you said that you went to a regular doctor, they put you on medication, and then of course you augmented that, or the Trivedi effect, I guess, was complementary to that. How long did it take for you to recognize that something was really, really different?
Well, the relief was instant and grew over time. So the way I would say is, within a matter of a few months, I started reducing my dosage, and less than a year, I was off the medication.
And I think that's important that everybody knows that you followed doctor's guidelines and didn't just stop doing everything, because that can be scary too.
Absolutely. No, I mean, this is you begin to feel yourself that how it is, but this is not a medical advice that
Right.
you always have to follow directions of your doctor, and for any medication changes. That was my experience. That how I saw it. I immediately began to feel relief, and then as time passed, I don't need that today, the next day. And then, so my dosage began to reduce. And then slowly it was cut in half, and then it was cut in further half. So like from half to quarter. And then ultimately I totally said, I don't need it. And how you know it is also, is that all the things you were missing in life, increased productivity, happiness, deep calmness, all those feelings begin to resurface in your life. You become more and more engaged in life, yet more and more settled. So so those, I don't have a clear memory of those feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So, and from productivity perspective, I mean, today, if I need to, I can work like several hours in a day, like 10 to 14, 15 hours a day without any issue. So significant change. And I mean, that's what led me to, those improvements, and that the instant calmness when you feel there is something inside you tells you that, oh, this is what you're missing in life, this is what you need, and then you need more of it, and then more of it. So I signed up immediately. Guruji was at that time starting a new program, Healer's Mastery Program, and I signed up immediately, no questions. I said, could I be part of that? That was my request to Guruji. And he gracefully accepted that. And I'm so glad he did, because over time, he has now helped me develop abilities where I can harness divine grace. I can harness and transmit that life force energy and help others.
Yes. And you've also participated in a lot of scientific research with the life force energy also. Which experiments have you participated in?
I have participated in several, and the most prominent of those are the skin and anti-aging experiment. And I've also participated in vitamin D3 experiment. And we have also, as a group, participated in anti-inflammatory experiments. And the results have been phenomenal. Results have been really, I'm so pleased that the amount of, you can say, transformation that occurred on the subjects. So we have done cell-based and mouse-based models. So, for example, in one of the experiments in mouse-based model, testosterone level in mouse was increased more than 1,000%. there's another experiment where the collagen levels were tested, and that increased more than 275% increase in collagen levels. On the vitamin D3 plus bone experiments, there were 150% increase in bone mineralization.
Wow, that's really phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm just grateful to Guruji that, and grateful to Divine that I found Guruji, and grateful to Guruji that he has developed us to that level where not only we feel optimal, and we are able to harness and transmit this energy as well, this phenomena of the Trivedi effect.
Right, and there are a lot of applications for Trivedi effect also with agriculture, and of course with human beings and animals and inorganic things and non-living materials. So there are definitely a lot of applications for science and life force energy to merge together. So Jagdish, what are some of the things that you see the life force energy being used for in the future? I mean, this is cutting edge scientific research that you're involved in.
Absolutely. Well, very first thing is, I see it being extremely beneficial to human condition, right? Humans are suffering from so much, like we talked about depression today. There are several other areas where human beings are suffering, and medical industry is very beneficial, but not resolving, you can say, issues, root causes. It's addressing the symptoms, but it's not addressing the root causes. So all those areas, overall health, heart health, kidney health, brain health, you can say bone. We just talked about bone, skin, all these areas. I mean, overall human health. I think that's Trivedi effect has hundreds of experiments done in those areas. And as you know, there are more than 4,000 scientific experiments done utilizing Trivedi effect, and there are more than 350 peer-review journals, publications, which are available in 3,500 universities throughout the world, including some of the prestigious Ivy League universities and also National Institute of Health. So when you review all that, definitely I think at the forefront is human condition, significantly can be improved. And their overall well-being, their optimizing of their potential, where they perform at best of they can be, at their best level possible. That's a very significant area of impact. Other areas are agriculture, like you said. The condition of food chain is deteriorating. We're seeing, time after time that to have a certain level of production, you need so much fertilizer. You need to have pesticides, fungicide applied to crop. And even though there are certain, you can say, there are guidelines from USDA to make sure those levels are maintained, but there are still some residuals which are in crops, in vegetables, fruits we eat, grains we eat, and the quality of nutrients. That is, with production, there are some compromises in that area. So with experiments we have seen, we have talked about in past about cashew, for example. There is a significant, you can say, improvement in quality, quantity, and durability of those crops. Cashews, we found that shelf life is like 10 times the normal cashews. Production was more than 300%. So, and the taste, I have tasted those myself. Once you start, it's hard to stop. It's just tasty. Yeah. And then, so that's just one crop, and we have several crops. We have looked at corn and even blueberries and grams, vegetables, bottle gourd. So several vegetables. I'm just taking some examples here,
Mm-hmm.
and um, so it is applicable across. Ginseng is another one, and then you go on to the livestock. You've seen experiments done on chicken. Significant difference in the quality of the meat, quantity of the meat, and so production and what you give them, again, for crops as well as for livestock. There were no chemicals utilized, and where it was needed, it was minimalistic. So it's that's the approach. What I'm seeing, which can be extremely beneficial to humankind, where their health can be improved through this, plus their food chain can be improved. Um, and then even non-living, there are areas we have seen significant improvement in the non-living. So those could have, you can say, implication in terms of medicine. Those can have implication in terms of industries. So I see the Trivedi effect as a phenomena that is here to flourish, that is here to grow, and that is here to benefit humankind in so many different ways. And it's actually a great fortune of for all of us that Guruji Mahendra Trivedi is here, and he is ushering in this era of uh, integration of science and, you can say, divine, of consciousness and of God. So all these are being integrated in this. He's showing how this life force can be harnessed, transmitted, and can transform the object scientifically. It's not hearsay. There are like we talked about, thousands of experiments and hundreds of thousands of data points which indicate that transformation.
Yes, it's so phenomenal, just to hear all of the different applications. Like you said, it's not only for human beings, but for animals, for livestock, for agriculture, for the world, for industry. It really is, like you said, a phenomenon about, connecting science and life force. It's a very interesting topic. So, Jagdish, if somebody wants to contact you, what's the best way to get in contact?
Absolutely. They can reach to me at my website, singjagdish.com. And to learn about Trivedi effect, this amazing phenomena, miraculous phenomena, they can reach to trivedieffect.com.
Okay, trivedieffect.com or singjagdish.com. And of course, I have a live link in the show notes for this. And everyone, do visit the websites, because there is just let's just say, a plethora of information on these websites. And it's very interesting when you dig into the science and you actually start to read about all of the science and the scientific experiments that have been done over the years and the results, because it is just amazing. So it's something that you need to see for yourself and read about for yourself so that you can get a better understanding. So thank you so much for joining me today, Jagdish.
Absolutely. And do visit if you have issues like we talked about in the beginning, depression. This is the best solution I've found, and you have nothing to lose but your depression.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. This is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a beautiful day.
Thank you, Tammy.
This information is not intended to provide diagnosis, treatment, or medical advice. Products, services, information, and other content provided in this broadcast, including information that may be provided in this broadcast directly or by linking to third-party websites, are provided for informational purposes only. Please consult with a physician or other healthcare professional regarding any medical or health-related diagnosis or treatment options.
You've been listening to today's top health and wellness innovators and thought leaders on Optimal Health Radio. To get more solid health and wellness information, visit optimalhealthradio.com.